Take a moment, look at your hands, wiggle your fingers, feel the texture of your skin, the faint warmth, the subtle weight of them resting in your lap. Now look around the room. See the way light falls on different surfaces. Notice the sounds, the smells, the temperature of the air. It all feels so real, so solid, so external, out there. And you are in here. A conscious, feeling self, a mind looking out at the world through the windows of your eyes. This is the most fundamental story we tell ourselves. The story of separation. I am here, the world is there. My mind is a private, internal phenomenon, a ghost in the machine of my body. The universe is a vast, cold, unfeeling collection of matter and energy. A clockwork mechanism that existed long before I was born and will continue long after I am gone. This story has defined our science, our philosophy, and our very sense of self for centuries. But what if that story is an illusion? What if the most profound separation of all, the one between mind and matter, between subject and object, between you and the universe, is the greatest mistake we have ever made? There is a philosopher and scientist of our time, a thinker with the courage to follow logic to its most startling conclusion. His name is Bernardo Castrup, and he is a leading voice in a revolution of thought that proposes something so radical, it changes everything. He argues, with scientific rigor and philosophical precision, that the story of separation is backward. Mind isn't a tiny, accidental byproduct of a vast, dead universe. Mind is the foundation of the universe. He proposes that everything we call the physical world, the stars and the galaxies, the mountains and the oceans, the chair you're sitting on, even the very brain inside your skull, is not outside of consciousness. It is an experience happening within consciousness. The universe isn't a great machine. It is a great mind, and we are not separate observers looking in. We are focal points of awareness within that mind, temporary whirlpools in a single, universal stream of consciousness. This isn't a comforting spiritual metaphor. This is a direct challenge to the bedrock of our reality, a new map for a cosmos that is infinitely more alive, more intelligent, and more intimately connected to us than we ever dared to imagine. To understand this, we have to start with the crack in the old story. Science, particularly neuroscience, has spent decades trying to solve what is called the hard problem of consciousness. How does a 3-pound lump of wet gray tissue inside our skulls, the brain, create the rich, subjective inner world of experience? How do electrical signals and chemical reactions between neurons become the redness of a sunset, the taste of chocolate, the feeling of love, the agony of loss? The truth is, after all this time, materialism has no answer. It simply asserts that somehow, when you arrange dead matter in a complex enough way, it magically wakes up and becomes aware. But this is an article of faith, not a scientific explanation. It's like saying that if you arrange enough gears and levers, a clock will start to feel bored. It makes no logical sense. The qualities of experience, color, sound, emotion, meaning, are nowhere to be found in the properties of matter. This is where the paradigm flips. Analytical idealism, as Castrup calls it, doesn't try to get consciousness out of matter. It proposes that matter is an experience within consciousness. Think about it. What do you actually know about the world? You don't know the world directly. You know your perception of the world. The colors you see are not out there. They are the result of electromagnetic frequencies being translated by your eyes and brain into the experience of color. The sounds you hear are not out there. They are vibrations in the air translated into the experience of sound. The solidity of the wall is an experience created by the electrical repulsion of its atoms against your hand. Everything you perceive as the physical world is a representation, a symbol, a dashboard of information appearing on the screen of your consciousness. You have never, not once in your life, experienced anything outside of your own mind. The materialist assumes that this dashboard is a faithful representation of an independent, mindless reality. The idealist proposes that the dashboard is all there is, because reality itself is mental. So why does the world feel so solid, so consistent, so independent of our personal whims? If it's all a mental construct, why can't I just will the walls to disappear? This is where the idea of a single, universal consciousness becomes essential. Your personal mind did not create the universe. Rather, your personal mind is a localized segment of a much larger, transpersonal field of mentation. Imagine the universe is one, single, cosmic mind, dreaming. The laws of physics are not external rules imposed on matter. They are the consistent, stable patterns of this cosmic dream. They are the grammar of its thought. And what are we? We are dissociated alters of this one mind. Like a person with multiple personalities, the universal mind has fragmented its awareness into countless individual focal points. Each of us is one such focal point. We are a temporary, walled-off whirlpool of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions within the vast ocean of universal consciousness. This dissociative boundary is what creates our sense of being a separate I. It filters the totality of the universal mind, giving us a limited, personal perspective. It's what prevents your thoughts from leaking into my thoughts, and what makes the world appear as an other that is separate from you. But the world isn't separate. It is the part of the universal mind's dream that exists outside your personal, dissociated boundary. The consistency of reality comes from the fact that we are all experiencing different facets of the same underlying mental process. We are all drops in the same ocean, and the ocean has its own currents, its own tides, its own deep, unwavering logic. So when you and I look at the same tree, we see the same tree not because the tree is a separate material object, but because both of our dissociated minds are perceiving the same thought form, the same pattern within the universal consciousness. The tree is a shared thought, and so is the moon, and so is the sun. This perspective doesn't invalidate science, it recontextualizes it. Science is not the study of a world outside of mind. Science is the study of the patterns, behaviors, and consistent laws of the universal mind as they appear on our perceptual dashboard. A physicist studying a quantum field is not observing the building blocks of matter. They are observing the fundamental thought processes of the cosmos. A neuroscientist studying the brain is not looking at the source of consciousness. They are looking at the image of a conscious process. The brain is what a living, thinking process looks like from the outside perspective of another dissociated mind, like a doctor or a scientist. Your brain doesn't generate your thoughts. Your brain is the symbolic appearance of your thoughts within the shared dream. It is a profound and beautiful shift. We move from a universe of dead objects to a cosmos of living process. The world is not a collection of things. It is a flow of experiences. This isn't a new idea. It is, perhaps, the oldest idea. The ancient esoteric traditions, from the Hermetic axiom all is mind to the Vedantic concept of Brahman, have been pointing to this truth for millennia. They used the language of myth, symbol, and metaphor to describe what we are now beginning to articulate with the language of philosophy and logic. Pythagoras didn't believe numbers were just human inventions. He saw them as the divine, structural thoughts of the cosmos itself. The mystics who spoke of an inner light or a universal spirit weren't being poetic. They were describing a direct, intuitive perception of the fundamental nature of reality as a conscious field. These traditions were not pre-scientific superstitions. They were sophisticated maps of the inner cosmos, a guide to navigating the one universal mind of which we are all a part. Today, we are finally building the conceptual bridges to reconnect this ancient wisdom with our modern understanding. We are realizing that the greatest explorers were not those who sailed the oceans, but those who journeyed inward. So what does this mean for you right here, right now? It means that the feeling of isolation, of being a fragile, conscious spark in a vast, indifferent darkness is an illusion. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself from a unique and precious point of view. The other people in your life are not fundamentally separate from you. They are other whirlpools in the same water, other expressions of the one being. This is the logical foundation of empathy. To feel another's pain or joy is not just a kind gesture. It is a moment of recognizing yourself in another form. It means that the spiritual journey is not about reaching some distant, external God. It is a process of dissolving the artificial boundaries of your ego, of remembering your true identity as the universal consciousness itself. Practices like meditation and deep introspection are not just for relaxation. They are technologies for thinning the veil of dissociation, for allowing your small, personal mind to taste the infinite awareness from which it came. And perhaps most profoundly, it means that your inner state matters in a way you can barely conceive. Your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions are not just private events. They are modulations in the universal field. By cultivating coherence, clarity, and compassion within your own mind, you are not just improving your own life. You are contributing to the quality of the cosmic dream itself. You are helping to heal the one mind of which we are all inseparable parts. We have been taught to look for answers in the world outside. But the great secret is that the world outside is a reflection of the world inside. It is a symbolic interface, a mirror to the one mind that is looking through your eyes right now. The journey is not outward, into the cold reaches of space. The journey is inward, into the infinite living reality that you have been all along. The story of separation is over. The story of unity, of a living, breathing, conscious universe is just beginning. And you are not just a reader of this story, you are its co-author.